Yeah.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to the June 25th, 2024 meeting of Henderson County Fiscal Court. We are glad you're with us, and if you're watching online, we are glad you are with us as well. We'll begin, as we always do, with an invocation. If you'll please stand with me. Dear Heavenly Father, please watch over this body as we make decisions for the betterment of our community. Watch over our team members here at the county, all of our department heads and elected officials. Watch over our community as we get through the summertime. Please watch over our men and women in uniform, both here and abroad, and our frontline healthcare workers. We say these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Join me in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Magistrate Starks.
Here.
Magistrate Berry.
Here.
Magistrate Putman.
Here.
Magistrate Tompkins.
Here.
Magistrate Southern.
Here.
Thank you. And gentlemen, in your package, you have the minutes of the June 11th, 2024 Fiscal Court meeting. After a period of review, I'll entertain a motion to approve those.
So move.
We have a motion by Magistrate Putman, second by Magistrate Berry. Any corrections, clarifications, or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we have a ton of year-end stuff to go through, also wrapping up some initiatives we've undertaken earlier in the year. I appreciate everybody's patience while we work through this, but it should be smooth, and for the last meeting of our fiscal year, I hope we can get through it in an expeditious manner, but we will forge ahead here. This is the time of the year when the Warm Center closes out its current year CDBG grant, which is funneled through fiscal court, and also declares its application for the new year. And I'm going to have Jeannie Quattrochia. Did I get that right? What is it? Quattrochi from GRAD, who's overseeing the closeout and the application come. And I'm going to have to get a motion to go into public hearing for this.
So move. Second.
We have a motion by Magistrate Putman, second by Magistrate Tompkins. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Gold, would you please swear her in?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is true and accurate to the best of your knowledge?
I do.
So, Jeannie, if you want to go over the closeout of the CDBG grant for this year.
The purpose of this meeting is to provide information regarding the closeout process for the Henderson County Regional Recovery Community Development Block Grant project for the 2023-2024 cycle. The Women's Addiction Recovery Center has been in existence for 16 years. The center houses over 100 women on a daily basis. The CDBG funds of $190,000 were utilized to pay staff salaries and has been done so since the center has opened. Funds used for the original construction of WARM consisted of low-income tax credit, home funds, affordable housing, trust funds, and funding through the Federal Home Loan Bank of Cincinnati. Funds used to house the women and pay utilities include funds from the Department of Corrections and Section 8 vouchers. With that being said, are there any comments for the court or the audience concerning the closing of the 2023-2024 round of funding?
It's my responsibility then to ask for any public comment on the closeout, either from the court or anybody in the audience. I have to ask 3 times, so I'll ask again. Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to go back out of public hearing.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Taylor Tompkins, second by Magistrate Putman, and I'm reciting your names, gentlemen, at the request of both the outgoing and incoming fiscal court clerk, so we know who says what. And so we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now we are out of public hearing for the closeout, and we're going to go back into public hearing for the 2024-2025 application for GRAD. Can I get a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
We have a motion by Magistrate Southern, second by Magistrate Berry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And do we need to swear Jeannie in again?
Do you recognize that you're still under oath and that the testimony you're about to give is true and accurate to the
I
best of your
do.
knowledge?
Yes. Okay. The purpose of this public hearing is to provide information to the public concerning the proposed Henderson County Regional Recovery Community Development Block Grant Project for the 2024-2025 funding cycle. This public hearing also serves to inform low and moderate income communities that technical assistance is available through the Green River Area Development District in developing grant proposals for the CDBG program. The Women's Addiction Recovery Manor project is funded through the Recovery Kentucky program. Originally, this program constructed a recovery facility to provide assistance for approximately 100 females recovering from alcohol and substance abuse. WARM is one of 10 recovery centers constructed in Kentucky. Since the facility opened, over 5,000 clients have been served. It has been recommended by the Department of Local Government to make an application for $200,000 for the 2024-2025 cycle. These funds will be used for staff salaries and operating costs. Block grants are funded and obtained through the Housing and Urban Development Administration, and therefore the Uniform Displacement Act applies for this project. However, no residents will be displaced due to the activities of this project.
A couple things to reiterate. Jeannie just said that I want to drive home is that, number one, the money for this CDBG grant that we do every year, it's about $200,000. You see it flow through our federal grants line items. Comes from a separate pot of money specifically devoted to recovery centers. So if the county had another CDBG eligible project, for example, one that's a little bit more common for CDBG grants, the fact that we get this money for the WARM Center, it funnels through us, wouldn't necessarily impede our ability to get other grants. It wouldn't be like we're dipping too far into the pot of money for more normal CDBG grants and therefore make it harder for us to get one. Does that make sense? Completely separate pot of money that the WARM Center has used since it's open. So thank you. And are there any public comments or questions for or against the application? Any public comments? Last time, anybody have a public comment? Okay. Thank you. And we'll need a motion to go out of public hearing.
So moved. Second.
I'm going to call Magistrate Tompkins with the motion and Magistrate Southard with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we have a couple resolutions moving us forward on these grants. One is authorizing me to sign the grant application, and we have a resolution to that effect, and I'll have the clerk read the resolution.
Whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court wishes to apply for funding from the Community Development Block Grant Recovery Kentucky Program for the purpose of funding the Center for Addiction Recovery of Henderson, Women's Addiction Recovery Manor, and whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court endorses said proposed project, and whereas the county understands the Community Development Block Grant Program is federally funded, and whereas the Henderson County Fiscal Court is eligible to apply for assistance through Community Development Block Grant Recovery Kentucky Program. Now therefore be it resolved by the Henderson County Fiscal Court that the Judge Executive and the successors in title are hereby authorized to execute and submit an application through the Department for Local Government, DLG, with such assurances and required supporting data as is necessary to apply for funding assistance through the Community Development Block Grant Recovery Kentucky Program for the proposed services.
Get a motion to approve that.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Magistrate Putman, second by Magistrate Tompkins. Any questions? Comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We also have a additional resolution that's standard with this. GRAD has helped administer this for the WARM Center since its start, and we would like to renew that annual agreement to oversee this funding. And I think we have another resolution there that I'll have the clerk read.
Resolution approving contract for professional services within the Green River Area Development District for Women's Addiction Recovery Manor Project Community Development Block Grant. Whereas the Community Development Block Grant CDBG program requires that the community receiving CDBG funds sign a contract for professional services for technical assistance, and whereas the contract for professional services must outline the process by which a CDBG project is administered. Whereas the Commonwealth of Kentucky Department for Local Government has awarded a Community Development Block Grant to the Henderson County Fiscal Court for the Center of Addiction Recovery of Henderson, Women's Addiction Recovery Manor, and whereas the Green River Area Development District has been chosen to administer the Henderson County Fiscal Court CDBG project. Now therefore be resolved by the Henderson County Fiscal Court that the attached contract for professional services between the Henderson County Fiscal Court and the Green River Area Development District is hereby adopted, and the Henderson County Judge Executive is hereby authorized and directed to execute on same on behalf of the county. The Henderson County Judge Executive is further authorized and directed to execute any and all other necessary and appropriate documents required to effectuate the intent and administration of the aforementioned grant.
Need a motion to approve that?
So move. Second.
We have a motion by Master Stark, second by Master Tompkins. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Thank you. Good luck. And thanks for your help, and more power to the Warm Center. We had a lot of discussion about the Homeless Coalition project over the last several months, and at the last meeting, I think we agreed in principle to offer some sort of support pending our determination as to whether we could use our opioid settlement funding to help support it. Since then, Mr. Gold met with principals of the Homeless Coalition and also the Daniel Patino Shelter, and it was determined that opioid funds were not the most appropriate funding source for those. So instead of going that direction, we worked with the city and reviewed the agreement that they produced. And if you don't mind, Mr. Gold, if you might characterize that agreement just a little bit.
The agreement is essentially a 3-year agreement that it would be paid on a year-by-year basis, which would fund a case manager for the Homeless Coalition. I think basically that's pretty straightforward. I want to give you what you're looking for.
Right, so remember, it's hard for us to commit current fiscal court past current terms. This helps solve this problem by committing us to 1 year. It would be $20,000, which we would take out of ARPA funds. And this is ARPA fund eligible. And it would be renewable every year with an out every year for the fiscal court if we decided it was not going the way we thought it should. And the new fiscal court also has the option to reject it, allowing them, that means we're not committing a new fiscal court to any kind of obligation. That's what the city decided after consulting with Mr. Gold. We thought that would be a good solution to bring back to fiscal court. So we would approve ARPA funding in the amount of $20,000 to fund the first year of the Homeless Coalition Case Manager project under the umbrella of the Daniel Patino Shelter. And next year, we will have them present and see if we want to continue that relationship. So
it does require regular reporting back to both the fiscal court and the city of Henderson about the activities, and there is a requirement that the individual serving in the case manager position be in place by a certain date. So there would be continued funding contingent upon them having that role filled, which is my understanding that they already have identified who they want to serve in that role.
So we have a resolution to this effect, and I'd like to go ahead and read it. And then if you have questions or debate, we can talk it through.
Resolution authorizing Henderson County Judge Executive to execute the attached agreement with the Henderson Homeless Coalition, Incorporated. Whereas the Henderson Homeless Coalition, Incorporated is organized and operated as a nonprofit Kentucky corporation to serve the residents of Henderson County, Kentucky. And whereas pursuant to all other law, the county has allocated funds for support of the Henderson Homeless Coalition, Incorporated for the purpose of creating a case manager position to provide comprehensive housing-focused services to economically disadvantaged individuals and families in Henderson County, Kentucky, and to assist them in acquiring or maintaining safe, healthy, affordable housing. And whereas the Henderson Fiscal Court deems it in the best interest of Henderson County to enter into a detached agreement with the Henderson Homeless Coalition, Incorporated. Now therefore be resolved as the Henderson County Fiscal Court authorizes and directs County Judge Executive Brad Schneider to execute the attached document entitled Agreement and to execute any and all other necessary and appropriate documents required to effectuate the intent thereof.
Any questions about this? I think the case manager model is a great first step for the Homeless Coalition. I know that group has been mulling over solutions for many years, and this is, I think, kind of one of the most high-profile, positive steps they've taken since evolving.
Definitely a step in the right direction, for sure.
If there are no other questions, I'll entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
So
Just
ma-
out of curiosity, is the person that's going to be doing this job already at the Patino shelter? So he's got the experience. I don't know why. I think he mentioned that in a previous meeting I was at, so that just,
They've been hired by the Daniel Patino shelter. It's a female. I don't have her name right off my head right now, but they have been hired and are going through their training program.
and
We need to, you come up to the microphone, Melissa.
Well, just blame Bush.
Can you-
It's okay.
no.
Can you please repeat your answer to that question?
Yes.
Yeah, for the record.
So the Daniel Patino shelter has hired an individual for this position, and we do have office space that is being donated by Bobby Jarrett at the Henderson Housing Authority. So yes, and that individual is going through the training program that the Daniel Patino has their employees go through.
would that individual be available like 5 days a week?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a full-time position, 5 days a week here in Henderson County. So they will be also doing the street outreach and out in the community. They will also be the one who will report back to this court and the city commission.
Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome.
And I think, just to clarify, the Homeless Coalition is a local Henderson County
Yes.
nonprofit. They're partnering with the Daniel Patino Shelter.
Right.
So this, for benefits purposes, this will be an employee of the Patino Shelter and have all the benefits and support of the Patino Shelter.
That's
But our agreement is with the Homeless Coalition.
That's correct.
The Henderson Homeless Coalition.
That's
And
correct.
the job description, too, is really, it's a good document to go along with this resolution. I think it's pretty all-encompassing, so it's good to see just what all is offered, so that's a good document to have.
And is it accurate to say that this person might be available at any time if need arises?
Yes, so this individual will, their name and phone number will be given to Jordan at 911 at dispatch, so they'll be available pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Right now, the Homeless Coalition Board, Executive Board, is who is on call, I guess you could say, for homeless situations in our community, but this person will be in charge of that. But they will be in that office 5 days a week, but on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Great.
So we have any other questions? Melissa? I think we have a motion by Master Tompkins. Do we have a second?
Second.
By Master Southard. Any other comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And very best of luck with that. I hope it sees results. Next, as you've known over the past year plus, we are participating with incentives for the Henderson Distillery Project. Our approved amount last year was $300,000. $150,000 of that will go to the city as part of the land acquisition package that was put together for the distillery. And we're here today to approve that payment to the city. Next year, or next fiscal year, we'll be getting into the incentive that we will provide the other half of that $300,000 to the distillery and nailing down when they will receive that payment. We will also offer up at that time an additional $50,000 for the distillery project paid to the ownership group at $5,000 per year over 10 years, mirroring the KEDFA KBI program's payout schedule with certain benchmarks like number of employees hired, amount of investment made. But we will be getting into that next year when we get closer to the opening of the distillery and when they're prepared to meet the benchmarks that the state requires. So today, I just need, after a resolution read here, approval to pay $150,000 of the incentive to the city. So I'll have that. If you want to read the entire resolution or just the summary, does anybody need?
Can we do the summary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just read the summary, if it's okay with everybody. Yeah.
Resolution authorizing grant to the City of Henderson, Kentucky for $150,000 for partial reimbursement for the acquisition of land for the Economic Development Project incentive related to the Henderson Distilling Company, LLC, Economic Development Project.
Any questions about that? This is coming out of ARPA funds.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Master Putman, a second by Master Berry. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We wish them the best. So as we discussed in the budget process, I proposed two personnel changes in my office. One, promoting Kurt Wiesen from administrative assistant and fiscal court clerk up to deputy judge executive, and also adding to his list of duties oversight on our procurement processes and bidding processes, with the idea that making them a little bit more standardized and bringing a little bit more organization to that process, we can save money and make money and do a better job with that. And after some arm twisting, Kurt has agreed to do that, and it'll be, I think, one of the first times we've had a deputy judge in Henderson County. But I think both the added duties and the value Kurt already brings to the position make this absolutely appropriate. And we have a resolution appointing Kurt as deputy judge executive effective.
Judge, actually, there's an executive order that you signed that is appointing him. The statute says that you have an absolute right to appoint a deputy county judge executive. The fiscal court has to set the salary of the deputy county judge. That's what this resolution is.
And the salary was part of our budget discussions, but I'll have the resolution read here.
A resolution fixing the reasonable compensation for the position of Deputy County Judge Executive pursuant to KRS 67.711, whereas the Henderson County Judge Executive has appointed Kurt Wiesen to the position of Deputy County Judge Executive as of July 1st, 2024, and whereas pursuant to KRS 67.711, the fiscal court shall fix the reasonable compensation of the Deputy County Judge Executive. Now therefore be resolved by the fiscal court, County of Henderson, Kentucky, as follows. Pursuant to KRS 67.711 and all other applicable law, the salary for position of Deputy County Judge Executive effective January 1st, 2024 is fixed at the rate of $65,000 per annum. Did I say July?
You did January.
No, sorry, July 1. Well, I should say KRS 67.711 too, but it says 111, so. Yes, that was it.
Okay, and to clarify too, there had been talk in the past of hiring a full-time procurement officer at a salary that probably would have needed to be at least $50,000, and you add benefits onto that, and it would have been probably well north of $75,000 total cost. So by doing it this way, promoting Kurt, adding these responsibilities on to his long list of duties that he does is both cost-effective and recognizes Kurt's talent. So we, for the price, a raise for him that's significantly less than hiring a full-time position, I think it's a great bargain. So, having read that resolution, any other questions about that? Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Master Berry, second by Master Tompkins. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now, that obviously raised the question of who is now going to be fiscal court clerk. And after some more arm twisting, working with our HR director, Angela Comer, who has been around county government a long time, and agreed to take on fiscal court clerk duties, which can be accomplished at a part-time basis, and in many counties is a part-time person And we're going to fix her salary. This was also discussed in the budget session. She has agreed and has already been working with Kurt to get up to speed on the exact details of this position, and I look forward to working with her. And I think it's going to be great to have her smiling, shining face up here on the dais versus, well, you know.
And I think it's important to note that she started her current job at 8 years old. It's how she's done this
Yeah,
and
right.
and did also at such a young age.
So, as much as I love Kurt, you know, it might be a breath of fresh air up here. I don't know. Yeah. Before I get myself in too much more trouble, I'll have Kurt read the resolution.
A resolution relating to the appointment to the position of fiscal court clerk. Whereas as of the appointment of Kurt Wiesen as Deputy County Judge Executive as of July 1st, 2024, there will exist a vacancy in the office of Henderson County Fiscal Court Clerk. And whereas pursuant to KRS 67.120, the Henderson County Clerk shall have the option to serve as fiscal court clerk, but has declined to exercise said option. And whereas the statute requires the fiscal court clerk to attend the sessions of the Henderson Fiscal Court, keep a full and correct record of all the proceedings of the court, together with complete index and with who in addition shall perform duties as may be required of them by the court. And whereas the fiscal court clerk serves at the pleasure of the fiscal court, receives an annual salary which shall be fixed by the court. And whereas the fiscal court clerk shall execute a bond to be approved by the fiscal court. Now therefore be it resolved by the fiscal court County of Henderson, Kentucky as follows. Pursuant to KRS 67.120 and all other applicable laws, Angela Comer is hereby appointed to the position of Henderson Fiscal Court Clerk effective July 1st, 2024, and her salary therefore is hereby fixed at a rate of $4,000 per annum, in addition to her regular salary for performance of other county duties. Number 2, Angela Comer shall execute a bond in the amount of $10,000 pursuant to KRS 67.1202.
And we pay for the bond, just in case you're wondering, so. Yeah. So, any questions about that? Entertain a motion to approve that resolution.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Master Pubbin, second by Master Southard. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Looking forward to the new changes and getting even better stuff done. We have the annual contract with Animal Control in your packet. We renew this every year. We have representatives of Humane Society here. Any comments you'd like to make?
First of all, that was a year to get this to where we're at now. I just want to thank each and every one of you for standing by me and having faith in me that I was going to fix it. Thank you to Kurt and to Judge for being my sounding board, being my, constructive criticism versus approval, and just being there and helping me get through this. And thank you for everything you guys have done to help me keep animal control where it's at and make it better. Not just where it's at, but to make it better. And we could not have done that without the support that we have now. And I'm very proud of my officers. So, and we're only going to go up from here. And to touch on the homeless, I'd like to get with someone. We have been contacted about some homeless people that have animals, and they just want us to go take it away. Well, sometimes that's a true emotional support dog, and it can be the only thing somebody's living for. So I would like to talk with someone and let Humane Society help, if they need food, this and that and the other, and help them keep their animal and take care of them. So we'd like to be a part of that if any help is needed. So I'll get with the right people. But no, thank you so much for, like I said, everything that you've done, and I look forward to continuing this with you guys and keeping it all straight.
The new contract just updates, obviously, the new amount we're contributing, approved in the budget for animal control, and it's same language as last year. So I don't believe there's anything other than new, updating the dates and the amount of money we're going to be contributing along with the city. So I'll have the clerk read the resolution.
Resolution authorizing Henderson County Judge Executive to execute the attached Animal Control Services Agreement with the Humane Society of Henderson County Incorporated. Whereas the Humane Society is organized and operated as an animal welfare agency to serve the residents of Henderson County, Kentucky area. And whereas pursuant to KRS 258.195 and all other applicable law, the county has allocated funds for the support of the Humane Society Animal Control Division for the benefit of animal control within the community of Henderson County, Kentucky. And whereas the Henderson Humane Society desires to provide to the county, and the county desires to purchase from the Humane Society domestic animal control and shelter services for impounded animals according to the terms of the contract and lease for the following agreement in accordance with KRS Chapter 258 and all other applicable laws. And whereas the Henderson Fiscal Court deems it in the best interest of Henderson County to enter into the attached agreement with the Humane Society of Henderson County Incorporated. Now therefore be resolved as that the Henderson County Fiscal Court authorizes and directs the County Judge Executive Brad Schneider to execute the attached document entitled Agreement and to execute any and all other necessary and appropriate documents required to effectuate the intent thereof.
Any questions? Can we get a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Magistrate Berry, second by Magistrate Southern. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Circling back to the appointment of a deputy judge executive, we, consulting with Mr. Gold, we probably do need to recognize this position in the administrative code, where it is not at the moment, and we merely need to take the resolution, job duties, and relevant KRS language about deputy judge executives and insert them into our administrative code. And I hope you've had a chance to read over that a little bit. Basically, KRS says he can perform the duties of my office upon my request, except he cannot preside over fiscal court meetings. That's the basic parameters in KRS, and also on this document is some of the basic responsibilities I'm going to be asking him to do, in addition to other duties as assigned, as is often the case with Swiss Army knives like Kurt Wiesen is. So in order to get this into our administrative code, we have this resolution. And unless you want him to read all 2 pages, he can read the
Summary, please.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll read the summary. You have it in front of you. It's fairly straightforward, so I'll have you read the summary.
Resolution adopting amendments to the county administrative code to include a new section dealing with the position of deputy county judge executive.
The motion to approve that?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Master Tompkins, a second by Master Putman. Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We've had a lot of discussion about the Riverport in the last month. Mike Thurman, long time member of the Riverport Board, is resigning, retiring, and we also have a position occupied by Ben Johnston. And after consulting with Ben Weithman and some other members of the Riverport Board, I would like to reappoint Ben Johnston to the Riverport Board and also appoint Eric Dalton to replace Mike Thurman. And Eric Dalton is, as you know, a very intelligent, bright young man in this community who's a small business owner and very involved. And I am pleasantly surprised that he was willing to step into this very important role at a very important part of our economic engine here. So I'm offering up a reappointment of Ben Johnston and then a new appointment of Eric Dalton to the Riverport Board. I need a motion to.
So, second.
We have a motion by Master Stark, second by Master Putman. Any questions about those appointments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And next we have an ordinance change related to our previous discussions, giving them a little flexibility for a couple years. And you do have the ordinance in your packets, but I'll have the clerk read the ordinance.
An ordinance amending an ordinance creating and establishing the Henderson County, Kentucky Riverport Authority and providing for the appointments of members thereof and delegating authorities thereto, enacted on August 24th, 1970, to suspend residency requirement for board appointment until June 30th, 2026. Whereas the Henderson Fiscal Court has been advised of a specific and temporary issue with regard to the residency of a member of the Henderson Riverport Authority Board, and whereas the Henderson Fiscal Court deems it in the best interest of Henderson County to temporarily suspend the residency requirement of the August 24th, 1970 ordinance regarding the Henderson Riverport Authority Board, now therefore be ordered and enacted by the Fiscal Court of the County of Henderson of the Commonwealth of Kentucky as follows. 1. Section 4 of an ordinance creating and establishing the Henderson County, Kentucky Riverport Authority and providing for the appointment of members thereof and delegating powers thereto, enacted on August 24, 1970, is hereby repealed and replaced with the following. Section 4. Each appointee shall have the knowledge, experience in matters relating to river transportation or riverport facilities. No Riverport Authority members shall hold any other elective or appointed public office with the County of Henderson. After June 30th, 2026, all members appointed shall reside within Henderson County. Number 2, all sections of the aforementioned ordinance are hereby ratified and shall remain in effect in full force and effect. 3, all parts of ordinances in conflict herein are repealed to the extent of such conflict. 4, the provisions of this ordinance are severable, and if any provisions or part thereof shall be held invalid or unconstitutional or inapplicable to any person or circumstance, such as an invalidity, unconstitutionality, or inapplicability, shall not affect or impair the remaining provisions of the ordinance. This ordinance shall be effective upon its passage and advertising according to law.
Again, that's a 2-year moratorium on this one, 2-year waivers. Any questions about that? Entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Master Tompkins, second by Master Berry. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. That is first reading. We'll be doing it again next meeting, right? We took part in a reverse salt auction, as Nick Stallings told us. He is needing to buy salt this upcoming year, and you see the bids from the vendors. They were $112 a ton from Compass Materials, $112.93 a ton from Morton Salt, and $146 a ton from IBG Magic of Kentuckiana, and the recommendation is to go with the lowest bid from Compass Materials for $112 a ton. So I will entertain a motion to accept that recommendation.
I'll make the bid to accept the recommendation. Second.
We have a motion from Magistrate Tompkins, second from Magistrate Southard. Any other questions about that? I hope we don't need to use very much. Knock on wood. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We have with us Eric Higgs, our recycling coordinator. I'm going to ask him to come up and give us an update.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Just want to kind of update everybody on about the waste tire event that we had 2 weeks ago. We accumulated between 45 and 50 tons of used waste tires that we don't have to worry about being dumped on our county.
Excellent.
During that process, we had members from the Kentucky Division of Waste Management, the Energy Environment Cabinet, and also Recycling Local Assistance Branch, and they had asked to take a tour of our recycling center. Well, so I walked them through it, and they was highly impressed because they wanted to make sure that our grant money that we received was being used properly. They said we have one of the biggest and one of the best recycling centers in the entire state of Kentucky.
Excellent.
They took pictures, they sent it out to other counties to kind of show them how they would like for their recycling centers to develop. And they said we're very highly favored to continue to get these Kentucky Pride grants each and every year, as long as we keep expanding and doing what we're doing. So,
Excellent. Fantastic.
And I sent you the email yesterday. We are, from the Kentucky Pride Grant for 23-24, we are going to have to return $7,664. We bought the 7 recycling trailers, which are now being used, but we had a little bit left over.
They want it back.
Yeah. I know we don't like to send back money if we don't have to, but.
That's the way it works with that grant.
And then the fall cleanups have been set, dates and set. After talking with Nick, we cannot find a place in Spotsville, Reed, or Beals where we could safely hold the cleanup. So he chose to go with the second cleanup in Basket, which is in that district, so.
So the former location at Beals wasn't going to work? No. Okay.
So I think Kurt gave you all a copy of all the cleanups.
Roberts, Cairo, and Basket. And they'll
And
range.
each are open to the entire county.
Yes.
That's important to know.
Right. Yeah.
And they are manned, so it
Yes.
won't be Union County.
No, after the fiasco from a couple of years ago, we have attendants, we have county workers there, and we pull the containers in at the end of each day. That way they're not left out overnight.
A fiasco I take full responsibility for.
Well, and I participated in the last cleanup, the spring one, and it was well-staffed. The guys were friendly and welcoming, and it took literally less than 10 minutes to get in and out. And
Good deal.
And I get a lot of positive feedback on the recycling Facebook page from citizens that thank us for having
Absolutely.
it, so.
friendly staff.
Well, I appreciate the work you're doing, Eric. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Thank you. And I assume you've made arrangements with Treasurer Ryder to make that refund happen. Yeah.
Oh, and an update on the sort line, it is ready to be, I've got all of the small stuff taken off of it. It's ready to be disassembled, which I'll need help from probably the road department to do that.
Yeah. You recall that we are dismantling the large sort line and scrapping it and dividing the proceeds among the Tri-State Recycling Alliance entities, so thank you.
It's ready to go.
Melinda Whitlock, if you want to give us an update on animal control.
Good morning.
Morning.
So I submitted 2 different graphics this time for animal control. I believe I did this last time, but I wanted to make sure that I had done it for you guys. One is the actual animal control chart, and one is the data matrix. Wanted to make sure that you know the difference. The animal control chart is everything that animal control has done this month, whether it be abandoned or at large, neglect, welfare check. It is every call that they have had in the month's time, the month of May. And the difference in the two is the data matrix will reflect all the animals that were brought back to the shelter. So if you can see we had 43 at large. Well, they brought back 28 of those because it was it has gotten a little bit better to where we can return the animal to the owner due to tags, microchips, whatever. The officers can look up the tag number. If we have a tag number listed, rabies tag, they have microchip readers in the truck now. So we can try to return animals rather than bring them back to the shelter, and then we hold them and they go reclaim them. Now, if we do have to do that, of course, they have to pay the reclaim fee at that time. But I wanted to make sure you know that what is shown on the data matrix isn't actually all that the animal control do. And as well as there's also emergency boarding, second injured animals, just all kinds of different situations that they address. And then, as Stacy did, I'd like to say thank you all for the budget so much. I came into this and it was quite an eye-opener, and I have come a long way, and I still have a long way to go. I still have a lot to learn. But I have tried to take initiative and try to be proactive in getting everything up and running correctly. Trying to make sure the community is aware that we're here to protect and serve, and we're not, trying to be aggressive. We're just trying to proceed by the laws and ordinances accordingly. I did want to report that we did participate in the IRT military program. We did get 10 of our animals spayed or neutered, including rabies shots with that, so that was quite nice. That saved us quite a bit of money. I tried to assist them with anything that I could help with, whether it be if they needed extra this or that. They were pretty well secured, pretty well set, so New Hope did a great job in trying to help and organize everything. So I have to give them praise for that because they did a very nice job. And I also wanted to do a little side note of thank you to Judge and Magistrate Stark for signing up for the Pies for Paws coming up on July 20th. I appreciate that. Anybody else that wants to sign up, there's still time to sign up. But yeah, that's all I've got. Anyone have any questions?
I assume the new truck's up and running and.
Oh, the new truck is great. I'm sorry, it slipped my mind. Yes, the new truck is fantastic. All the labeling is on. It runs well. It fits everyone. So if we all have to go out for something together, we can all fit in one truck instead of having to take, multiple trucks and then my personal car too. So, because once in a while we'll have horses running, and that's an everybody. That's we call everybody in, and because that's a large animal at large. So, but yeah, the truck is fantastic. They appreciate it so much.
And has the box in the back been installed?
The box has not been installed yet. As far as I know, it has been ordered, but it has not been installed yet. But we do have the old box in there for now. It will work as a temporary because the other truck has a nice box on it.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. Well, excellent. Everything else is going okay? We have a full complement of AC officers?
Yes, we do. We still have Officer Moore. We have Officer Ashby, and then I hired Officer Hicks. She is a female, which is a nice dynamic to add to our department. She was a volunteer fire department person for quite some time in Poole, and I believe in Corden as well. And she's familiar with all of them. And so she's had quite a bit of training to go with this. So, and we actually have CPR classes on Saturday. We're all going to attend it, get recertified on that. Just people, not animals, but we intend to do both. And yeah, it's going really well.
Any other questions of Melinda? Thank you very much.
Thank
Appreciate it. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I know that a representative of the clerk's office is not with us, but you have in your packet her report for the month. And if you want to look that over,
And
clerk, if you want to read in the numbers.
Yeah, the county clerk did, said they were out training today, so she wasn't going to be unable to make it. But they did turn a check over for $134,115.09 in excess fees for the month.
Motion to accept that.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Master Barry, second by Master Tompkins. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Gold, your report.
As I've got several checks today. Jail fees collected, $176.25. Interest, $20.44. County budget reimbursement, $6,110.07. Health insurance, $9,846.920. Dental and life, $522.05 and $40.09. Aflac, $161.81, bringing the total for today to $17,796.74, and the fiscal year total to date $207,176.94.
Motion to accept the county attorney payments.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Master Southard, second by Master Starks. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I'm going to call up Treasurer Ryder here. We have several bits of business on the finance side to take care of, but they're all good news.
This is the second reading of the budget for the fiscal year 24-25. This has been reviewed and approved by the DLG, Department of Local Government, as to form and classification. The budget is being presented as balanced in total as well as with respect to the revenues and appropriations of each fund. The total budget for fiscal year 24-25 is $36,562,002. The breakdown of each fund is general fund, $11,330,057. Road fund, $5,865,157. Jail fund, $9,407,305. LGEA, which is Local Government Economic Assistance, $1,681,863. State grants, $736,620. Federal grants, 0. Economic development, $60,000. Clerk SB 135, which is the Clerk Permanent Storage Fund, $21,000. Employee health insurance, $3,125,000. Opioid Settlement Fund, $185,000. ARPA, which is America Rescue Plan Act, $4,150,000. The total budget for the fiscal year 24-25, $36,562,002.
Once again, compliment our team at the county, magistrates, Mr. Gold, everybody out there who helped put that together. It was a very smooth process, and I'm very pleased with the product, and I think we're setting ourselves up for success next year. So, do we have a second reading? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Master Putman, second by Master Tompkins. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Are there any opposed? And I'll vote aye for the record as well. Okay, thank you. Next.
The transfers are as presented, and these are necessary to make sure that all the appropriation lines are in a positive mode for the end of the year. Towards the end of page 2, you will notice that there is a cash transfer from the grants fund to the general fund, totaling $4,469.22. This is for the U.S. Treasury electronic fund transfers for the Bureau of Prisons payments, which were deposited electronically to the incorrect fund. Also, at the very end of page 2, you will notice that I'm asking for your approval to make any changes, if necessary, for any deficient appropriation lines which may be due to underestimating the fiscal year-end encumbrances and year-end standing orders.
Any questions about that last part? After we approve these transfers, there may be a few others out there before now and the end of the fiscal year, which is Saturday.
Yes.
And it gives her permission to take dollars and pennies.
I make the motion to approve to let her balance the budget.
But, yeah, so that's a motion to approve these
Yes.
transfers and
Yes.
Whatever she needs to do to balance it by the end of the year.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Second. You have and a second by Master Berry. Any other questions about these transfers? A lot of them are just year-end, cleanups. I will note for the record that revenue summary, if you noticed, the general fund finished or is finishing at 91% of appropriations, so 10%, 9% under budget. All the departments finished under budget in expenses. I appreciate that. I think we do a good job of minding our money and only spending what we need. So, great job to everybody. And we do have, I'm sorry.
I will add that the majority of the transfers for this year I've been able to keep those within each department versus reaching out to, we have looked into contingency for a few things, but most transfers in general have been kept within each department of the budget.
We have well over $200,000 still left in contingency, which is great. There was no urgent miscalculation that required us dipping well into that fund, so good job. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Do we have we have a motion and a second on the transfers and giving Brenda the authority to go fix this, clean it all up, anything that needs cleaned up for the end of the fiscal year. Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
You have received your bank balances after paying claims today. Overall, the general fund appropriations finished, these are unreconciled right now, at 92%. The road fund appropriations at approximately 80%, and the jail fund appropriations at approximately 90%.
Yeah.
I do have additional claims. From the general fund to Magistrate Berry, $705.50. To Magistrate Starks, $706.40. Both of these are for reimbursement of training expenses and is to come from the Fiscal Court Conferences Training Appropriation line. To Jill Ward, $616.41. This is for reimbursement of EMA expenses and is to come from the EMA Supplies Appropriation line. To A1 Septic, Inc., $4,615.44. This is for plumbing services in the PVA office and is to come from Renewals, Repairs, Courthouse Appropriation line. Still with the general fund, to Barrett Fisher Company Incorporated, $556.83. This is for paper products and is to come from the Renewal, Repairs, Courthouse Appropriation line. To Governor's Local Issues Conference, $1,050. This is for training expenses and is to come from the Treasurer and the Judges Staff Conference Training Appropriation lines. To Slade Print, $707.97. This is for payroll tax forms and is to come from the Occupational Tax Data Processing Appropriation line. To Teresa Childers, $3,864.50. This is for the 2024 training incentive and is to come from the Treasurer's Training Incentive Appropriation line. This is to be paid with the July 3rd, 2024 payroll. To Magistrate Tompkins, $2,576.34. This is for the 2024 training incentive and is to come from the Magistrate's Training Incentive line and is to be paid with the July 3rd, 2024 payroll. From the road fund to Adrian Garage Door Repair, $7,900. This is for Sandy Lee Watkins Park maintenances and is to come from Parks Program Supplies Appropriation line. To Mulzer Crushed Stone, $1,353.66. This is for rock materials and is made up of 2 invoices and is to come from the Rock Materials Appropriation line. From the jail fund to Priority Communications, $548.75. This is for telephone repairs and is to come from the Equipment Repairs Maintenance Appropriation line. To Republic Services, $757.71. This is for service and is to come from the Contracted Services Appropriation line. From the Grants Fund, as was previously discussed in this meeting, to the Kentucky State Treasurer, $7,664. This is for the unspent 23-24 recycling funds and is to come from the Kentucky Pride Fund appropriation line. From the opioid fund to the Center for Addiction Recovery of Henderson, $35,000. This was approved at the June 11, 2024 meeting. This is pending completion of the signed contract. From the ARPA fund to the Henderson City County Rescue, $15,218. This is for the boat motor for the leased boat to the rescue squad. Homeless Coalition, to the Homeless Coalition, $20,000. This is for the first year of the 3-year funding. To the City of Henderson, $150,000. This is for the partial commitment for the Henderson Distillery Economic Development Project. That's all.
Any questions about claims?
Judge, I'd move we pay the claims.
Second.
A motion by Master Putman, second by Master Southard. Any other questions, comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, Brenda.
All right. Corner Farmer, you have raised your hand.
I apologize for not being able to get a hold of the judge sooner. There's a couple things that have happened in the past week that will have an effect on the coroner's office eventually. We're going to be okay starting off, but the medical examiner in Madisonville is retiring. So they are in the process of possibly shutting down that office. They're going to try to get somebody, but there is nothing in the works right at the moment. So what that means is that all bodies are going to have to be transferred to Louisville for all autopsies. They've also got a new rule in Louisville that their security guard will no longer help us unload the bodies. So that means we're going to have to send 2 people, no matter what, up to Louisville and all. And so you're talking 2.5 hours up there, 2.5 hours back, and the time there. So it is going to put a bind on us per se. I don't foresee it right now. There's a group of us have been on the phone ever since last Tuesday to see what we can find out about this, but it is something that's going to build up. Then now the state DOCJT has put into a new plan about how we're registering for classes and all like this. It's called the Letters Program. And we're asking them to have another class on this thing because this is not easy. Sheriff, do y'all use letters? Who handles that? Dwight?
Anthony Willett, Lieutenant Willett.
Who?
Lieutenant Willett.
Okay. I'm going to talk with them, see if I can get them to help me get some of this stuff up. But it's pretty complicated in part of that. So we're working on that. But the biggest thing is this bit about not having a medical examiner in Madisonville and what it's going to take to transport the bodies and all. And we've got a couple of funeral homes that have now started up asking us to, if we take a body to Louisville, for us to bring it back. Well, we have never done that. And I don't foresee us starting to do that because 2 people up there, 2 people back to bring back a body. We've always in the past for the funeral homes to make arrangements for the transports. In regards to an individual, we've had 4 people that applied for a job. We had a staff meeting the other night. We talked about it. We've got one of them coming in for an interview this afternoon to see about his availability and going from there. So we're hoping to, so we can get back up on that. But that's the main things. But the bit about the transports to Louisville and all is gonna, unless they can find us another medical examiner, that's one that's gonna add up. Because there we start doing this, having to send 2 people at a time up there. 2 people have to do all the unloading and paperwork, come back. They are also setting up a new rule that any police departments that come do an autopsy, and we do that from time to time, have to be in Louisville at 8 o'clock in the morning. That's 7 o'clock our time. So that doesn't make it very convenient for them, but that's Louisville's rules. So we are working on these things, seeing what we can do, but I just wanted to make you aware of what could be taking place not immediately, but before the end of the fiscal year.
Thank you.
Okay? Thank y'all.
Anybody else for good of the county? Sheriff Stoffer?
No, sir.
Okay. We'll go around the horn. Magistrate Starks, you have a nice little bit of
Yeah, I'm
part
not
right
sure
there.
if the camera can pick up on that, but thank you, Judge, and it's great to see everybody, and happy almost new fiscal year to everybody. This was presented to the county in recognition of our support and the assistance that we provided to the Innovative Readiness Training. This has been going on at the South Middle School and some other locations over the last 10 to 12 days. And I'll have to say this is probably one of the best programs that has come to our community in quite some time. It is a collaborative effort, not only the county, but also the city and our EMA director and his staff were helping out with the mass casualty simulation. They had the drone out to help oversee what was going on, I think, at the fairgrounds. And then also providing the space this past weekend for the spay and neuter program that was just mentioned a short while ago. And again, I saw, we had a chance to tour the South Middle School where all the healthcare delivery was taking place, and they were giving out school physicals. They had eyeglasses. People could actually come and get their eye screened and get a new pair of glasses that same day. I ran into a gentleman that I've known all the time. I've been in Henderson. He has insurance, he has money, he has a dentist, but he has had a toothache for months. He could not get in to see his regular dentist. And he was waiting there, and he said, this will be, after I get seen today, the first time that I can actually chew on both sides of my mouth. And that's just how impactful this thing has been. And I know there's hundreds of other stories now that will be told, really for months on end, of people getting medical services that they otherwise wouldn't have gotten. So I want to thank, and these are all servicemen and women, Army, Air Force, Air Guard, and also the Army Reserves. And we've had young people and people of all ages, really, that have been getting their training. They have to get these hours in. And so it's a great partnership for them to come into a community like ours, have people come out, because this is what they'll use now, from now on, when they go out to, when they deploy, or if they're on base, whatever the situation might be. And just to see the inner workings of that and how closely, a lot of times you think these services are a bit of a rivalry, but to a person, these people were all on the same page, getting it done. They had some adversities. They fought through that, and that's part of the innovation training, because not, every situation is going to be different when they get out in the field. And this was to help them prepare for those kind of situations. So I just, again, it's, and also a big thanks to GRAD. They helped to bring this to our community and to this region. First time that the Green River region ever has hosted this group. They do it every year all across the country, and so to get this in our community is a big deal. And also want to thank the Delta Regional Authority. They've helped us in many different ways, and this is another part of that. So a lot of collaboration, and just at the end of the day, a lot of folks getting things done that they've needed done that they just otherwise, either for lack of insurance or whatever the case may be. And again, it's training for these people that will now pay dividends to wherever they might be, Middle East or right here at Fort Campbell or some other place. So they did give this to us. I'm going to hand this over to the judge to display as he sees fit here at the courthouse.
Thank you. That was an amazing program, and kudos to the city and the school system for really working hard to make
South
that happen.
Middle School. I'll have to say, it probably hasn't looked as good as it did that day. Everything was pristine, and to a person, The service people and the people who run this program said that this IRT in Henderson has been probably one of the best experiences of their careers. And so really hats off to everybody who was involved in that.
Excellent. On a side note, Mr. Gold, who is one of the organizers of the Handy Fest, enabled a representatives of that project to come up on stage at Handy Fest and get a big round of applause and talk a little bit more about what they were doing. And that had to be a neat experience for them to get a big salute from about 6,000 people out of Mill Park. So
They were talking about that very thing and how much they enjoyed being a part of that community activity. And again, I think it was a great way to showcase what Henderson has to offer. So
excellent. Master Barry.
Yeah, everything he said. Thanks, Bill. No, it's easy going after Magistrate Starks. He don't miss anything. And has a lot. That's good, though. I like that. Just a couple of things, Judge. I guess congratulate Angela and Kurt for their new positions, added work. I know it is, but I don't know if it should be a congratulations or they may say it another way, but I think they're going to do wonderful. So thank both of you. Thank all the department heads for being so diligent in managing their budgets. And we had a tractor drive Sunday. Butch is looking at me over there. Steve and I went. We had a good time. And I know some people couldn't go. They raised somewhere around $3,700 to $3,900, I think. And this year, everybody decided to give the proceeds to a local family. I don't know if anybody knows Lois Wilson. She's here. And her son, and I don't know her son, but her grandson, who's 8 years old, has been in the hospital for about 6 to 7 weeks with leukemia in Louisville. So they decided to donate that to them to help, with their expenses and such. So, and they don't know how long he's going to be there. So that's all going to them this year. And it's a good fundraiser. Everybody had a good time. It stayed cloudy all day, and it was fairly pleasant, believe it or not. So I won't talk about Bluegrass in the Park. It's coming up in August. We'll wait till it gets closer. So with that, everything's good in District 1. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Gold.
As was discussed, we had a great tractor ride. It's always neat to go through those back roads and whatnot that you normally go at 45, 55 miles an hour, or something about going about 10 miles an hour. You notice things, and I think it's always a good time and definitely for a great cause. So thank you to Magistrate Berry for getting the trailer and having the tractor out.
You feel every bump in the road too, don't you?
You do feel every bump in the road, literally every bump in the road. But thank you for that.
Sure.
I know it's not easy, and thank you to Deputy Dwayne Rainier, who was the guy that was making sure that the whole thing was safe. He was, stopping traffic and making sure that, and probably dealing with people unhappy that there were about, 50-plus tractors going through some of these intersections. But he did a great job, and I want to thank him and the whole Sheriff's Department for everything they do to keep us safe. As was mentioned, since the last meeting, we had the Handy Festival. Coroner Farmer's one of the organizers of that as well, and he does a wonderful job. I want to thank Judge Schneider for coming out and being the MC on the microphone for a while. And what I love about that, when we talk about the Handy Festival or any of the festivals in town, it's easy to look at it as, well, that's just a big party or something like that, But one of my favorite things to do is Friday and Saturday, just go around and look at license plates. And we saw license plates from all over. Literally all over the United States, from Maine to California. They were all over the place. So it really is an opportunity where we get a chance to show off our community. And the thing that we hear from people is that it is a friendly community. Once they come to any of our festivals, the Handy Festival in particular, we've got them. they're coming back to Henderson in the future, and they're spending money, they're doing things like that. So it really is both a tourism and economic development driver. And thanks to Vince, he had a special Handy Festival edition and gave out thousands and thousands of copies of it, and it was a great way to welcome people to the community. So a lot of good things going on, and this is the I think the judge mentioned it a little bit earlier. This is the first full fiscal year for this fiscal court, and there have been a whole lot of great things that have happened over the last year for this community, and things really are moving forward. I think this is a great team, and I'm happy to be part of it.
Master Puppet.
Well, what can I say, Judge? Thank you. It's hard to follow all that. Just to add to what Magistrate Starks was saying, a lot of the soldiers, they went out to eat every night, and they were visiting our establishments. And from what I can understand, I forget the brewery's name on 2nd Street, but they went over there and had a big time with the locals. And of course, they went out and eat here. So, that thing actually brought a little money into the community as well. And it was well attended. I live across the street from it. I mean, they lined up in the morning, 7:30. I mean, there was a line all the way down to the corner of Cherry or something. I mean, there was a lot of activity over there. But it was a great event. Unfortunately, the Army picks, from what I understand, they select where they're going with that. They do it all over the country. I talked to some of them that were from Dover, California, Montana, you name it, Oregon, Maine. They're from everywhere and quite talented. It's hard to believe, that I think the optometrist over there, the lady she was just one of them. And she had been in the reserve for 20 years. She went active Army, was the story, served her time, went back to college, went to become a dentist, and then back in the reserve for 20 years. And still active. So it's pretty impressive, really. But again, dittos for everything that Mr. Gold said too about the Handy Fest. I did get to go down there on a Saturday night, and wow, what can you say? I mean, it's just incredible. And other than that, Judge, I'm going to say everything is good in the 4th. Thank you.
Master Tompkins.
Well, I'll start with a little seriousness. I continue to meet with the representatives from both solar companies on a weekly basis to try to mitigate any growing pains, or I guess I should say construction pains, as we move through getting them doing that. The goal is always to keep everybody safe and productive and on about their normal day. So we continue to work with them. They're good partners to this point. So everything continues to go well there with that. And I would just like to echo the comments said here. This is the first fiscal year that I've been here, and I can tell you, I share this with everybody I talk to that asks, and even doesn't ask sometimes. I've lived here my entire life. This is the best time I've ever seen to be a resident of Henderson County, because you've got people in positions who truly care, and it's such a wide array of diversity, talents. I mean, it's amazing in the progressiveness that I've seen in the right ways, and not just for the sake of doing it. We've really invested in our community, and it shows from people coming from, as Attorney Gold said, just from all over the country, and Henderson's a great place to be. So I'm very thankful for the opportunity to be a magistrate, and with that being said, everything's good in District 2.
Thank you. Master Southern.
Well, back to the medical thing we had, we'll never know how many people, the health benefits that come from that for our community. As Butch was saying, there was hundreds of people that came that needed something that may not have been able to get it otherwise. So it's huge, and my hat's off to the military for coming here, and Grad for organizing it, and the school system. It's nice to be able to touch your citizens in that way. It really is. And everybody else has already covered everything else, so all's good in District 3.
Thank you. Kudos again to the city and the schools and grad. When I first saw the information about it, I wasn't sure how many people would actually take advantage of it. Getting word out about these things isn't as simple as it used to be. And I should not have worried, because a lot of people a ton of people took advantage of it. And the county's contribution to this was opening up the fairgrounds for the veterinarian services, which turned out to be widely used, and that's terrific. I do hope they come back. I know they try to spread the wealth, as Master Putman said. They may not be back in Henderson next year, but if things could align that they would return, that would be fantastic. It was great. Big kudos to the gang at the Handy Fest, all the people who do that, all the volunteers who put that on every year. And Mr. Gold's been involved for many, many years. It's quite a showcase for our community, and the number of people who have visited Henderson solely for the purpose of attending that, and then found out what a jewel we have in our community and come back as much for us as for the music is amazing. And I had an anecdotal story from Abby Dixon about a couple that had been coming here from northern climes over the years to see the Handy Fest, and now they're retiring, and they have decided they're going to retire to Henderson, and they're looking for a house here already. So those stories always kind of amaze me, but it's true. You've heard them yourself. So I do want to have a moment to say thank you in so many ways for the help Kurt Wiesen has given this court as fiscal court clerk over the years. It's not lightly that we decided to make this change, because Kurt does such an effective job in his role as clerk, in addition to all the other hats he wears. But I just want to say thank you, sir, and it's not like you're retiring. You're graduating to even more responsibilities, but you can handle it, I know. And I know Angela will have plenty of help in the transition for her new role, but thank you very much. And I think that, especially for the members of the court who've been with us for a bit, you understand what a great role Kurt plays in keeping both myself and all of us in our lanes, doing the right thing. And I know that he's very much appreciated by the county attorney's office, too, in the ways he interacts with them. So thank you. Appreciate it. I want to reiterate again, because in the past, I think my predecessor, Hugh McCormick, had talked at one time about hiring a deputy county judge executive because he was having health issues and felt perhaps that somebody here full-time when he couldn't be was going to be effective for the county. And then there was some controversy around that and spending the money at a time when the county was not doing well financially. And what he ended up doing was turning a lot of responsibility over to Butch Putman, who steered the ship for a while in his absence. What we're doing here is not hiring a full-time, new full-time person. I mentioned that if we had decided to add a procurement officer, and I think there was a lot of support for having somebody who focused on that, it would have been north of $70,000 to $75,000 all told. For the price of $14,000, we're getting the same, I think, the same kind of focus on procurement that we needed, while maintaining a quality person in our fiscal court clerk's position and allowing Kurt to use even more of his talents to, in many other ways, to keep us going. So I think it's a great bargain. And for those of you out there watching, we're not adding a position. We're promoting and shifting around people to do what we think we need to do at a bargain price, as far as I'm concerned. So if anybody at the Geneva store mentions this, Tim, you can explain that to them and make sure they understand. So, but coming to the end of the fiscal year, I'll reiterate again how proud I am of what we've done this year, how honored I am to serve with one of the best fiscal courts I've been around in my relatively short tenure, but this is my third different makeup, and it just gets better. We have conscientious people on this panel who care about the community, care about their districts, and I really appreciate that, because for the people to feel like they can call you any time of the day or night, and I know they do, that's good. That's a good sign. And I do appreciate that, because in many ways you're able to answer the questions for people more quickly than if they came to me and I had to go research what was going on in that particular situation. You guys take care of that in many respects, and let me know what I need to know, or let other people need to know what needs to happen. So I like that we have that open line of communication with our constituents. That's the way it should be. We're wrapping up a very successful fiscal year in which we accomplished many things. We had a budget that finished on schedule and once again in the black. And I think when you're doing good stuff and you're minding the money and you're giving our team the resources they need to do their jobs better and adding money to the budget to do even more, I think that's what we're here to do. And also to make sure lives are better for our citizens. I mean, that's the story. I think we're doing those things. So it may sound a little, chest thumping to say that, but I do think it's true. And I try to spread the credit for that among all of our county team. So congratulations. Looking forward to starting all over again July 1 and getting after it. With that, having said as many thank yous as I could possibly get out there, including Treasurer Ryder for all your help with the budget and everything ongoing, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor can leave.